It's working now. Come we have this.
Okay, let me open this girl's bio.
Have you entered the meeting?
No,
Okay.
The meeting will let you in soon. Why are you doing this to yourself? There's nowhere you can set it to just people can come without letting you in.
This is about the picture.
Can you
Yeah?
look?
Okay.
Who is sharing the screen? Is it you or Tony? Not Tony.
I can help you get your screen.
Acha wapigane sisi.
The sound. Yes, first.
You change your skin color, and your hair is long. Nothing apocalations are there. Okay, I'm I'm checking out the top together. On your experiences, I'm not mixing. Somebody loves you. Somebody loves you. Yeah, the Kenyan guy made this music. Millenium Campus Network kabarikiwa.
What is in the mystery? What is the speaker?
When are you coming home, stranger? Tell me, are you on your way? Tikipendana, Tiramiana Julia. I send you my nest. Hello.
No, they don't really feel bored. Yeah.
I found the most effective product.
So crazy. And what's okay. Yeah, but I think it's
a lot of time reflecting on what that has meant to me, and really just thinking about the life that we want to live in, and the things that we want to carry on with the work that we do. Um, I've always been really interested in helping people ever since I was back in university and before. It was actually the word that was in my mind when I was thinking of what I wanted to major in when I went to university. I was, like maybe some of you, not quite determined on what I wanted to do when I started university. It was very vague to me. I was lost, and I remember the only thing that was in my head is I love helping people, and I remember getting a lot of suggestions on going to things like social work or psychology, or doing things in the social sciences because of my deep desire in trying to help people. That gave me a lot of happiness, but also just gave me a reason for the work that I do. It didn't quite stick to me, and I remember I ended up choosing to do business administration because I remember that was the most general major that you can pick out of everything else, that you could then apply as you develop your interests, career, if you end up getting more interested in specific niche topics. And so I remember going in with just an open mind, and I said, you know what, I think it'll be a great way to build my skills. It'll be a great way to build my leadership skills and my organizational skills, and I can then apply to whatever I end up finding myself really, really passionate about. Because as far as I know, at this point, when I'm sitting 17 or 18 years old, I really don't know what I want to do. I want to help people. That's all that's in my mind and heart right now. And I want to see where that takes me. And so I ended up majoring in business administration. And I met a lot of incredible people at my school that have already plans for what they want to do. And it was always just this sense of trying to find out what is it that I want to do. And I want to share just 3 things that I think would be timely as you're going on your university journey right now. And I know it's different for different, just university systems and structures, but if that's something that you could do, I would definitely encourage you to do. One thing I did was I took things that were outside of business every single semester. So every semester I would pick one course that was out of my major, something completely different. Whether it was in the arts, in psychology, anthropology. I remember I took a course in languages. I took one in French just to, do something completely different. So I took a specific course, every single major that was out of my business school, just to make sure that, I'm exploring as many options as I had. And even if I had something specifically picked, it's a great way to try and maximize the amount of information that you're getting in your 4 years by not just focusing and honing your skills on your major, but expanding it to different places and getting expertise and connecting with people from many different departments. And so every single semester I would pick this one course that was completely different. It was a great way to break out from the business mindset of all of the different courses that I took. And it really kept it, really fun and I guess variable throughout the 4 years that I was working at. But I was lucky enough to, I think it was my first year, that I did an introduction to business where we get to talk about just many different terminologies that relate in the business world. And I remember my professor, we had a discussion around the topic of the day was on entrepreneurship. I think you all by now know what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is being able to start your own business, getting creative, being innovative, and starting something to address a problem by providing a service or a product. So we talked a little bit about it, and then there was this 5-minute section of the entire class that said, and there's something called social entrepreneurship. Do any of you know what social entrepreneurship is? Type it down in the chat box. Let me know if it's yes or no. But to me, that was the first time I hear about social entrepreneurship. And I was curious to learn, okay, so that has social in it, but I don't really know what it means. And so I remember we had just a very brief, conversation about social entrepreneurship and how it's different from entrepreneurship, because rather than focusing on profits and focusing on creating a business and a profitable business that focuses on providing a service or a product, you're really focused on the vision. You're looking for a problem that is affecting a community, and you're looking at how you can use your business skills to help that community, but still be a business and be sustainable. And you may have heard of a lot of different business models out there that are called social enterprises, whether they do a one-on-one model, you buy something from their products and they give one in return to charity, or they donate all of their profits that go to the communities that they're interested in serving, or the entire business is actually built on providing a service for people that need it for for a social or an environmental issue. So it's completely different from the traditional sense of how you think about building a business and focusing on growing, being big, making money, and scaling up. It was really focused on how do we help people that are around us, how do we help people that we care about, and how can we leverage business to do that? And most importantly, how do we do it in a way that we ourselves can be sustainable and can grow and have a good life? So you could still create a business and still, make money and still have a decent life, but still your mission is focused on serving those around you. So it's not just profit-based, it's actually community mission driven. If you are to make a business decision on whether you can have more profits or pay your staff more, you would pay your staff more. It's really focused on how do we serve the people around us as best as we can. And so social entrepreneurship was really intriguing to me. That 5-10 minute conversation led me to then dedicate the next 3 years of my semester of my university career just learning more about it. We did not have a major in social entrepreneurship, nor classes that were specifically on social entrepreneurship. So I created those courses. I went to professors and I said, hey, I'm really interested in learning about it. I come from a country, Yemen, if you, which is a really small country in the Middle East, that has more than 50% of our population is under 35 years old. They are young people, and the highest unemployment rate is within young people. And so in our region, we know that young people have a lot of drive, have a lot of time, but they do not have the avenues that connects them to making a difference in their communities. Why don't we use social entrepreneurship to do that? And so I spent the 3 years of my life just looking at how to combine social entrepreneurship with youth unemployment. And I created a research, my final research in my university was just based on that. How do we combine this gap in a country, my country, where you have governments that lack, providing access to some of the basic necessities? How do we work alongside to fill in these gaps and provide safe drinking water and public transportation and build small businesses that can give back to our communities while still, and give jobs to the young people that are currently unemployed? How do we empower them and give them the skills to build businesses for themselves, but also help their own community that also needs access to many of these resources and challenges that they face? And that was, to me, such an experience that has instilled in me the value of, one, the importance of giving back and finding something to do with every single thing that you learn, and everything that you acquire from skills, from knowledge, and how important it is to give it back to as many people around you as possible. And so I completed my research. I was really passionate about, social entrepreneurship, youth impact, and how can we take that forward? How can I now find a job? How can I graduate and look for something that will really help me realize what this means? So I looked at it in theory. I did my research. That's all great, but what does that mean in the real world? And so as soon as I graduated, I go back to, I graduated with a bachelor's in business administration, and a lot of my friends, 99% of them, were looking for opportunities in big corporations, everything from, consultancy firms to, we have, the big four, big K, like, Microsoft, Dell, what have you, all of these great big organizations, which there's nothing wrong with that. I just could not see myself doing that. I could not see myself being in there and just focusing more on business. I wanted to do more than that. To me, what I knew would give me true passion and sense of purpose is to work in something that I know I'm contributing to not just myself, but I'm contributing to myself and my community in a way that I can see. And so there is nothing wrong with pursuing many different sectors and finding something that really speaks to you, and you see yourself doing it not just for 1 year, but for your lifetime, is something that I, wanted to do from the get-go, from the moment of graduating. And so I wanted to be connected to that. And so as soon as I graduated, it took around 6 or more months in just doing a lot of research of organizations around me that did work in social impact and worked with youth. And there aren't many of them out there, which is why social entrepreneurship is really important, to get people to create their own businesses and create their own work. But I was very fortunate enough to have stumbled upon, first, I did intern with the Housing Partnership Network, as Lydia mentioned, which was an opportunity to get to see how social enterprise runs, and how we can leverage all of these great business organizations into providing affordable housing for people. So that within itself was a great opportunity for me, to hone some of the skills that I had. But after that, I got to learn about Millenium Campus Network, and with that, I was able to, now help and work with young people that are working on exactly, that, on finding ways to create a difference, on advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And so being able to be connected now, not just to my own country in Yemen or in the US, but with 20 different countries right now, and beyond, and more than 1,000 of you as you're working on this work, is so humbling. And you cannot imagine how excited I am every single time I sit with you, every time I sit with fellows and talk about the work that they're doing, and trying to support with the skills that we have and the tools that we have, in making your work possible. Because to us, that means that we have been able to create more change and more impact around the world. And to me specifically, it gives me a great sense of humility and understanding and learning, and just growing from all of the experiences that I see with you. And so I'm just really humbled to be here. And I think that as you work through the next 3-4 years of your university, or however time you have left, continuously reflect on what is it that you see yourself doing, not just in 1 year, but in 5-10 years. What is really giving you a sense of purpose? What is, as you reflect on your classes and your interactions and the things that you've learned, what has been really exciting to learn, and what do you want to learn more about, and what do you want to expand your knowledge in? And this continuous process of reflection is what solidified my interest in working with young leaders, working on social impact, and then finding organizations that do that. It is not an easy process, but once you figure it out, all of the pieces fit together, and you will find people out there that help you, and you will find the resources there to help you with your next step of journey. So that is a little bit of about my story, and about the things that I've been working on so far. I joined at a really exciting time with MCN, where we were just about to launch the fellowship to be something that was focused only in the US to something that was focused worldwide. And we, one of the things that really excites me about it is that we are able to break all of the barriers that typically young people have. Everything from the admissions fees to programs, to being able to travel to participate in a program, to being able to now be person to person. We have removed all of these barriers as we partnered with the United Nations Academic Impact to try and open it up to any young fellow or student that wants to make a change in their world. And so I'm truly excited to have you with me on this journey this year and beyond, as you find ways of creating impact in your communities, as you find ways of learning about how we can leverage the tools that we're learning, the skills that we're gaining from our own classes, from our own experiences, into serving those around us and those that we care about. As I've been working over the past 3 years, I've been learning from fellows just as much as I've been sharing information and helping with the training sessions and all that. But at the same time, with as we continuously look at how we can serve communities, there is a lot to learn. We don't have all of the answers, but we're trying to learn, and we're trying to share everything that we learn. But finding things like, as you work on your projects, one of the things that are long-term with MCN is to try and show that you can create social impact wherever you are. So for me, I saw myself doing it in a, not necessarily, didn't have to be a nonprofit, but I wanted it to be with an organization that focused on youth impact and focused on youth, either youth on unemployment or youth impact, but really focused on how our younger generation can do more. And that's why I'm really excited to be with MCN. But for you, it could be working in Microsoft and finding ways to volunteer and contribute to their corporate social responsibility and leverage the times and leverage the skills that you gain with your, experience to give back to your community, teaching kids how to code. It could be various different things. Finding ways to create impact isn't necessarily by just joining the United Nations or joining nonprofits. It's about finding ways to contribute back regardless of where you're at and regardless of what time you are in. And that's why MCN exists, is because you don't have to wait until you're 30 or 40 years old to give back to your community. You can do so from now. In fact, you are doing it from now. And you're leveraging the skills that you have right now to try and help those around you. And, when you do that, you're already contributing something to the world. And as you continue to find ways, as you continue to grow your experiences, as you continue to find amazing jobs and really build your career, always think about how can I give back the skills that I've gained, the knowledge that I have to people. It could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your neighborhood, it could be the entire country, it could be something separate. So I just want to say, I'll pause here. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. I want to turn it over to you, Lydia, if you have any questions or want to, moderate how, questions are coming. Do let me know, and I'd be happy to kind of pause here and open up the floor to all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Noha, for your, for this talk, because I feel like it resonates with me, and my journey has been it has been really hard, and the talk has been really helpful for me, because now I know, regardless of the challenges that I am facing, I still have to keep pushing, and I should still hold on to my purpose and work so hard so that I can make impact in my community and to the lives of people around me. I have one question regarding purpose as a whole. Most of the times, because the school that I'm in right now, I'm at the African Leadership Academy, and when I came to ALA, the first question I was asked during my orientation week was, what's your purpose? Right? And when I was asked that question, that was the hardest question that I was ever asked, like I had ever been asked before. And I was struggling to see, because I've never sat down to think about my purpose and what my calling is and what I'm passionate about. And I feel like that is something that young people should be aware of from a very young age, so that they can have a sense of direction as they, carry on their daily activities. But it's not easy, like coming to discover what you're passionate about and your purpose is not easy. Even when you discover what you're passionate about, it becomes so hard to keep focused because you find challenges here and there. So my question to you is, what one piece of advice do you have for the young people who are facing this challenge of, first of all, identifying their purpose and staying focused and, doing what they like doing?
Yeah, that is a great question. And it's not easy, and it can always sometimes feel, in fact, overwhelming, just, figuring out what you're passionate about and what's your purpose in this life. It can really be overwhelming. And so I think that this process of continuously to reflect on what you are currently doing with your life, and what are, from these activities that you're doing right now, what is really exciting to you? Like, what are you finding yourself, enjoying in the process? And what are the things that are just putting pressure on you and they're draining you? And try to use that as a lead to continue, exploring more and more things until you get to this thing that you're really passionate about. I do want to say, 3 things in 3 sentences that I always have in mind when you think about your purpose. So I want you to think, and maybe I can type it down in the chat box or share it in a minute, but if I recall them correctly. So 3 questions that you want to ask yourself or put it in statements. 1, I am good at blank. And so what's one thing that you're good at? Like, I am good at something. I am excited working on something. So what is this thing that is really exciting to you as you work on it or develop it? And I wish I could learn about X. And these three sentences, depending on what the answer is for all three of them, if you are able to match, if you're good at something and you are, you're able to match all of these three answers together, typically that means that you're kind of learning more towards finding that as a purpose. If you're good at it, if you want to learn more about something within the same domain, if all of your questions and all your mind is focused on, three different things around the same topic, then that's something to start thinking about, learning about more and kind of leveraging more in depth. There's so many things that, and ways to try and just think about and continuously reflect. And I'm happy to share more tools around that. But I think just the process of continuously exploring new things. And so don't be limited to just a specific topic if you feel like you're still searching for that one thing that you're passionate about. So if you're, for example, an engineering student, find ways to do things beyond engineering, whether it's by different classes or by doing something online. I think just by being involved, for example, the Millennium Fellowship is already one way where you're kind of stepping outside of your academic field and finding things that you're doing on the side that is different. But find different things along the way that just give you a sense of excitement and interest in doing it, and you will know when this is something that you're passionate about. You will know when this is something that you're going to be excited to wake up every single day to work on it. And that's actually, I think that's the other thing, is that when you're really passionate about something, there are always going to be difficult times. There is nothing such as, I'm passionate about it and it's going great. MCN and working with MCN is as amazing as it is, requires a lot of, hard work in setting, everything, making sure the program runs well. And so there are always easy parts and hard parts in everything that you do. But in both situations, I'm really excited to work on it. And I know that it's contributing to something that is meaningful, and that's giving me that sense of purpose. And so it's not about how hard or easy something is. It's about, am I gonna wake up next morning and do it? Do I really feel motivated to do that? Or do I feel like it's just an additional pressure and overwhelming, and I'm just not finding myself doing this activity? When you go out and volunteer to do a food drive, am I really excited about this work that I'm doing? Am I really truly feeling the energy and feeling like this is something that means a lot to me? Or is it just one thing that I'm doing because I've signed up for it and now I have to do it? So as you do these activities every single time, as you engage in different things that you do over your courses, over your volunteering, time, and so forth, continuously reflect on how is this experience for me? Am I enjoying it or not? And if I am, then do I want to do more of it? Does that seem something that I can, dedicate myself more towards, and do more, and, try to develop myself in that field or in that organization or in that course a little bit more to reach one step further. And so it's really a process of experimentation. If you're lucky, you could find that early on in your career life, but some people don't find that until they're 40 or 50 years old, and that's okay. The process of finding what you're truly passionate about is not just a source of some sort of a function or a formula. It's just about, these experiences that you live and finding what truly resonates with you and what you feel, clicks as this is something that I know I want to do for the next 10 or 20 years of my life. So it's okay to be in that process, however long it takes, as long as you do not give up and just continue to pursue opportunities, continue to pursue new things of doing, continue to advance your own skills and your own resources, and be humble in the process of doing so, as you meet people and as you, get to build all of that amazing experiences for you and your community at large. So that was a bit of a longer answer, but it's really a process of learning. It's part of that, cycle of life of finding what you're truly passionate about.
Wow, wow. I feel super excited about this. I really feel so happy. And Noha, thank you for really joining us here at Inspiration Podium at RPSAN. I'm so glad that you really managed to make it here. So I want to really appreciate for this, because on my side, I really come to realize that however much this pandemic period is really becoming harder and harder every now and then, we still have a chance to use our education to really make an impact, however small it may be, in our communities. And I remember one colleague of mine at school, he really used to tell me that, Robert, you know what, you can always make it so long as you have life. So we always have to say that so long as we have life, we can always make what we need to impact the social communities we are having. So I want to welcome everyone here. We're going into the open discussion phase, and I'm really ensuring that this is going to be an interactive session. Feel free to really raise up your question, so long as you can really stay along the theme that is the relevance of education here in Africa, to see that we can survive in this COVID-19 reset. So if I told you there and you really feel like you have to raise up an issue concerning this, and our guest speaker is here with us, she is really free with us. Maybe what I didn't tell you is I am a Millennium Fellow, and she has been guiding me. She is my mentor, and I really thank you very much for that. So please, if I told you there and you really have something you want to bring on board, you're welcome.
Maimuna, please go for it. You have a question.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Yeah, my first question, but it's like he said we should know ask was to know her about what she was talking about, and I really want to ask her this question. So can I go ahead?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So I really want to ask because all this social work that you want to do, you want to volunteer, you really have passion about something, but then most of these things it's not like they bring money. How will you balance your life? Like, do you do another job apart from MCN, like the passion? Because we all know you need money in this life, and you need to feed and the upkeep and everything. So do you do another job apart from MCN? And if yes, how do you manage following your passion and like paying your bills? Because I'm almost done with school, and what I want to do is quite like different from what I studied. So I want to know, how do you balance your life with the job and MCN, or you just do MCN and that's it? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your question. So I currently do MCN full time, and so I actually I do work. MCN is a nonprofit organization, and we dedicated really most of my day and time towards it. I do want to say, however, and I remember in college, as you know. As I was learning about social entrepreneurship, one thing that happened was, as I mentioned, there weren't any classes that really focused on it. All of the classes that were there were in a completely different college for public administration, and that's where they had all of the nonprofit and semi-social entrepreneurship content there. And so I remember, going there and asking my university faculty advisors to have me take these classes in some shape or form. And so they said, you can take it, but you have to take it at a master's level if you wanted to be in those rooms. And I said, okay, that's fine. Like, I'll do it. And so I did that, and I ended up actually kind of combining both of my degrees into a bachelor and a master in public administration in those 4 years, because I just wanted to pursue all of the content that was on social entrepreneurship in the university I was in. But I mentioned that because I did both a bachelor and a master's in that 4 years, and I worked probably two and a half jobs. I would say a half, because the other one, it was more of a part-time occasional thing, but 2.5 jobs at the same time, and was part of Enactus. If any of you have heard of Enactus, which is a nonprofit organization that works on provides students who are passionate about social entrepreneurship the opportunity to build their skills in that by working on different projects, and 2 other organizations. And it was really difficult, but it was doable. And I found times to dedicate for every single thing I did, from my studies to my leadership activities to the jobs that I did, and the two jobs that I did, and just kind of dedicated a schedule where I did not have a lot of social activities going on during those 4 years because it was all on these four. I spent my 4 years just laser focused on what I can do to, gain skills and learn. And so, I worked on just trying to find a schedule that worked for all of these activities. And so, I would, for a lot of us, and as you go to your professional career, it will be less busy than it is in university, I'm quite sure. But it's really important that you find something that you're passionate about that is also good for you and helps, that is sustainable for you and your family, your own overall well-being. And so whether it's finding a social entrepreneurship, social enterprise, a for-profit company, a nonprofit, it doesn't matter as long as it's something that is gonna be good for you and your situation, and then you can use the time that you have to contribute to the community. And so I would say my piece of advice there would be to find opportunities that you're passionate about, and they can take many different shapes and forms, and then use the time that you are in these opportunities to find extra things to do with your time and with the skills that you have. And it could be in forms of volunteering, completely separate from the organization that you're working with. It could be within the organization, or it could be embedded in the organization itself, like MCNS, where we're completely focused on youth impact. So I'm happy to speak more one-on-one, and we can always connect to learn more. I'll use this opportunity. I'm happy to share my email and phone number down below in the chat box. Feel free to connect at any time. But I hope that answers your question.
Well, thank you very much, Noha. I'm really inspired by your ways of how you respond to questions. I have a scenario here in Uganda. We've gotten deep villages whereby people are really focusing on farming to really survive. And now it comes in a situation of this pandemic to see that their kids are no longer going to school. And these are people who have been focusing on farming to see that they can really survive. And now we see that education is a key to everything. Education is a key to success. So for such a kid who is really trying to see that he can go back to school, and yet the schools are really closed, and he really wants to look for opportunities, how would you advise such a person who is looking for opportunities in such a pandemic period?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. And I want to say that I think one of the, I don't want to say positive sides, but one of the things that happened during this pandemic is so many organizations have moved all of their programs online, that you can now access from your own home without having to go somewhere physically. The Millennium Fellowship, we've been with the Millennium Fellowship specifically, we've been grateful enough and thankful to be in a place where we've always been, remote. We've had to make some changes, but many other programs are now finding ways to create, virtual events. And so I would use this time and beyond to look for ways that you can contribute virtually, just like many organizations are doing. And everything from different webinars and seminars that are now being scheduled to hone your skills. If you're passionate about refining your skill in something specific, I guarantee you there's probably something out there that is open to anyone to join that hones your skills in something. If you're interested in being part of communities like the Millennium Fellowship, if you're a Millennium Fellow or not, these are open. The class of 2021 is already open for those that are interested in applying for next year. There's something to do virtually. We've had fellows even before the pandemic think about ways that they can create impact digitally. And so I want to share two examples. We've had a fellow last year in 2018 actually that was addressing the issue of cyber sensibility or cyber bullying, really, which is becoming more and more prominent in our days now, unfortunately. And so she created a curriculum that can be taught to all middle school, secondary students on cybersecurity and how to protect yourself from that, and was able to expand her curriculum from the United States all the way to Nigeria, all the way to India, because of the Millennium Fellowship and the Millennium Fellows partners that she created. So that was completely done virtually. The content, the implementation, the execution. We have another fellow who is from the University of Ibadan, actually in Nigeria, who created a virtual database for all of the academic information and resources provided by the university. So it's an open source, almost library for fellows or students that are in the school, and he hopes to expand that now to multiple schools as well. But he has leveraged his own skills and his passion in the technical field in building this online library where he is really saving and harnessing all of the academic work that is traditionally in papers online for those to access for years beyond. And so there's something that you can do. There's always something that you can do online, whatever that looks like for your own experiences and your own interest. But especially now is a moment where there is an unlimited number of opportunities to get involved, and I'm happy to share some of them in the chat box. Everything from whether it's grants and opportunities to help your projects financially, or just ways of getting involved and opportunities to get involved more in depth on the refining of your skills and knowledge and experiences.
Thank you so much, Noha, for that insightful response. And now, please, if you have any question, feel free to use the... Oh yeah, Tony has a question. I didn't see that, sorry. So yeah, Tony, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm in Uganda. The digital infrastructure here is a bit crazy. But I like to start off by thanking her for really coming through with this. It's been a really eye-opening session. And but where I am still a bit confused is we are really diving into the fourth industrial revolution, yeah? And of course, the fourth industrial revolution is basically stuff that is happening outside Africa. But of course, we get affected in the long run, yeah? So how does a student that is really in Africa trying to concentrate on their education? Of course, I have come to understand that a master's, a plain degree in Africa at the moment may not be very helpful because, everyone else has them. Yeah? So there's a lot of academic inflation. So for a student that is really looking at those few tag points and benchmarks in the progress of their career, how would you really help them be able to stick to A or B and know that, maybe this or that will play out? Let me really simply hang on to what I'm doing, because it becomes a little bit of a mess when you try to work it out in your brain. You're going through of school, and at the end of the day, it's not really going to pay off in the way that you actually maybe expect. So what do you have for a student in that sort of situation? Yes, that's my question.
So if I can, there was a little bit of just audio, and I hope I got your question right. So I'll rephrase it and let me know if I got it. But you said if a student is facing, you mentioned academic inflation. You said if a student is facing challenges, is it with the project? Is the question is around your project that you're working on, or around something else? Oh, I think you're muted right now. Tony, I believe you're muted. Sorry.
Oh, so sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm new to technology. But this is for a random student, really, that is, say, at university now, but they know 100,000 people that have the same type of degree and they have no job. How do you really encourage that student to go about a future?
Yeah, Yeah, it's actually very interesting when you think about it. Like every year, you have students that graduate, I'm remembering now my my experience. You graduate with like 1,000 or more students with business administration, all vouching for the same opportunities that you are, and it's sort of like a competition at one point of who is going to be able to get some of the best positions out there. And how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you be even motivated to compete and to seek out these opportunities when you're surrounded by people like you who have gotten the same experiences, same skills, and same opportunities. It is a real question, and I have two things to say for that. One is, to me at least, and if that resonates, but always know that there is there is something that is going to work out for you, and have faith, have the belief that you will find an opportunity that will work well with you. I think just the mindset that you put yourself in before you move on to the next step of your career, or as you begin your career path, is really, really important, because it can be a very stressful time, and it can also be a very just overwhelming time, especially now with the pandemic. I can only imagine how difficult it could be for fellows and students that are about to start their own career paths at a time where a lot of organizations are freezing their hiring, and they're not working on expanding as much. But I think having the mindset that there is something that is going to work out sooner or later, and it's going to be something that aligns well with my values and my interests, and having that all the time and keeping it going and positively affirming the importance is just beyond what you can imagine. It can really set you up for success. So I cannot emphasize it more. Being positive, going in with the energy, with the motivation that you have the skills that it takes. You have you've spent 4 years and you've dedicated your time learning these skills, and you have what it takes now to excel. And having the drive is one part. The second part would be planning. Planning very well at what you want to pursue and the opportunities that you want to pursue. So to me, I knew from the get-go I did not want to do not private sector, but I did not want to do something that did not clearly demonstrate social impact. For some people that could be okay, and then, as I said, you leverage your experiences and time and volunteering and giving back. But to me, I wanted something that was specific in my mind. I wanted to work with an organization that worked on X, Y, and Z, and that's what I looked for. So have a plan, have something in mind, and look for it. It could be the same as everybody else, and it could be completely different. So you never know what opportunity you will find that just matches your skills. So have a plan and work for it, and be persistent. It takes a lot of applications sometimes, and a lot of opportunities, and you may get no, and you may get rejections, and that's part of the process. But just being continuously adamant and continuously finding ways and being positive, and knowing that whatever that's going to come to you will be something that works well for you, which is why you will get rejections, because it's not meant to be. But continuing to find ways to and being persistent in finding those opportunities is important. And then the third thing that I will add to these 2 points is, as you work for these, look for these opportunities, and as you have that positive mindset, it's also important to, know how to differentiate yourself and make yourself unique. So as you graduate with, 1,000 or more students who are applying for the same amount of opportunities, how do you tell the employer or tell the future, kind of career person that you'll be working with, that you are different and you have what it takes to, meet the necessary goals of the opportunity that you'll be working with. And this includes a combination of, one, being creative in the way that you reach out, which could include, very something that if you have seen any of our previous webinars, but something that I've learned from Sam, and Sam has learned from another person that they met. Sam is the executive director of Team MC of Millenium Campus Network. but it's 5 words that you ask, which is, how can I help you? One thing that you can do when you reach out to organizations, rather than saying, I needed a job, I need an internship, is going out to them and saying, how can I help you? I have things that I can offer you that I know will be helpful for you, and I would like to do that, but I want to know, how can I help you, and what do you need so that I can offer it, right? So it's a completely different approach from saying, I need a job, hire me, to going to someone and saying, hey, hey, person X, I know you're working on designing this website that offers this product and service, and I think it's amazing. How can I help you? How can I get involved? If you're a computer scientist and you have those skills, reach out to that person that you're interested in working with and say, how can I help you? I know you're working on launching your next phase of the, of the website. How, is there something that I can do to help refine your, X, Y, and Z? Be very intentional as you find opportunities to your own major, right? Go out to them and with specific, asks, and learn about them. Really, really learn about them. Learn about the work that they do. Don't just, apply the same generic kind of resume. I'm interested in working with you, please hire me. Or I'm interested in interning with you, please hire me. Or I'm even interested in volunteering with you. Reach out to them after you've done your research about this specific organization and what you know you can give with the skills that you currently have, not what you can take from them. So the process of working, whether it's an internship or any form of relationship, is about giving and taking. And so while you're there and you're working to get paid or get your salary, have a decent life, they're also there because you are contributing something. And so take that second approach. Go to them with those resources and ask them how you can contribute it. And so I would find ways to differentiate yourself. This is one way. There are many others, I'm sure. And so just be humble in the process, and ask people how you can contribute to their work. So I would say these are my three advice, and I'm happy to share more and brainstorm as well with you one-on-one. But I would reflect on these three points.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Noha, so much for taking your time to answer our questions. Because is there anyone else who has like specific questions? Resty? It seems like we do not have any more questions. Thank you so much. This has really been insightful and open. It has opened our minds in so many aspects, and we are really thankful for that. We hope, personally, I'll keep in touch with you. I hope that you won't have a problem receiving emails from me from time to time, or from any other person here. Yeah. And yeah, let me hand it to Robert. Robert, take it away.
I see that is getting something sorted, but thank you so much for availing this 1 hour. It's been through which we've learned, really taken us about 5 years. So thank you so much.
Yes, no, it's, I'm really humbled to be with you all and honored. So thank you so much for having me. I do see a question down from Angulo, who says, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced, but it says, besides the positive and an open mindset, what other paths can we use to find a window of opportunity? Leverage things like, just the internet and Google to find things that match your skills and your opportunities. Opportunity Desk, I know, is something that's very popular, that always broadcasts different ways of getting involved for young people. Everything from, programs to funding to jobs and internships. Alongside with that, there is a really great one called ID List also that I'm not sure if it's just US based or fully, but there's that one as well. And then Opportunity Desk, as I mentioned. I would just, you know, find the different kind of resources and channels and outlets out there that are targeted for youth. There are things out there. They're sometimes hard to find, but they are out there. But have specific, you know, asks in mind as well. So if you are looking for something specific, you know, reach out to the connections that you have. Reach out to, you know, the people that you are meeting virtually or through your university to try and find these resources that you would need. So you know, I'd encourage you to do that, and feel free to get in touch if you have any more specific questions. And I think Robert is back on, so I'll turn it over to you, Robert.
Wow, thank you very much, Noha, for this very big opportunity you've given to us. We're really grateful for your time, and we believe that it's not gonna just go unnoticed. And for our members, we've gotten members from different countries here in Africa, and we believe that when they follow this on our Facebook page, they are going to really be inspired and motivated. We really hope for the best out of this, and we hope that you continue sharing together, trying to share experience and even ideas on how we can really make impacts in our societies and to see to it that the world becomes a better place to live. I thank you everyone for tuning in, and we believe that we're going to work together continuously. And thank you very much. I think we shall meet the next time. No, thank you very much, fellow campus. I can see Millenium fellow here. I can see my Mona tuned in, and thank you very much for everyone. So see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure. Take care.
Yeah, take care too.
All right. Thank you guys for coming. Angulo, Robert. I just don't really know how the event went, but I think yeah, we tried our best. Thank you, Robert, for the license. Streaming was a lot easier this time.
The
quality on Facebook is just on point. So everything seems to be good.
Wow.
Also, Lydia is here. I don't know what's wrong with Lydia. She just left the meeting. Let's go back to the meeting.
And you should stop recording. You should stop recording.
Yeah, I stopped recording. Let me see.
You stopped the